Hello everybody, today is December 12th of 2023. First off, I'd like to say thank you to all my new subscribers and all my subscribers in general. I knew sooner or later people would start listening, and I just feel honored that you guys are willing to listen to what I have to say. For those of you who've been following along, you'll notice that maybe my speech is a little bit different, a little bit of lisp, or you might even notice in my mouth that I now have braces. Quick little story about that was yesterday, well, in the middle of the night the day before, I woke up. What happened to be, for some reason, I woke up to the number. As soon as I woke up, with my eyes closed, I could see the number 61. You guys can research yourself number 61 in the Bible or however you research numbers, and you'll be interested to see what it has to say. But as I was sleeping through the night, I was listening to the King James Version of the New Testament. And at the same time when I woke up, it happened to be talking about thrashing of the teeth. And as I do every time I wake up and I hear a certain specific part of the Bible, I try to see how it relates, find the positive within it, what it's trying to tell me. And it brought up my own, insecurities that I've had in the past, if you will. And because talking of thrashing of the teeth, we all know, without a doubt, when we're in the illusion, the 20% of the brain, that if we're talking to somebody and we notice that their teeth are, say, rotted, or they're crooked, or whatever, that we, without meaning to, we tend to judge them. We tend to see them as less. We tend to see them as not an equal. It's not our fault. It's the way our brain works. Our brain is always looking at the negative first. And if you're looking at someone's face and you notice that their teeth are rotted, nowadays we instantly assume the worst. In all actuality, I think it isn't just nowadays. I think it goes way, way back. We view teeth as a form of financial status. We view teeth as a way of knowing whether or not a person has been a drug abuser in the past, with the current, epidemic, if you will, that we have of methamphetamines and other drugs that cause people to lose their teeth. Or we merely look at it as somebody was brought up in a very poor family that couldn't even afford to go see the dentist, or they were brought up in an uneducated family that didn't know how to take care of their teeth. All of these things our brain processes instantaneously because it always looks at the negative first. It's not our fault. It's merely because it's the 20% of our brain that we say we use is trying to protect us from negative vibrations, the negativity that could come from what we feel is interacting with people that are less or below us or ignorant or so on. And, I'm 53 years old. When I was growing up, all I ever asked for was I really wanted braces because from as young as I can remember, I was always insecure about how straight my teeth were. And before I gained my consciousness, before I woke up, before I found God within me, whatever you want to call it, back in almost a year ago, I went to a dentist because I had plenty of money. I had a great business. My home was paid off. Everything was kind of considered living the American dream. So I went to a dentist, orthodontist, to see about getting braces so that I could have a perfect smile. Because all my life I had not enjoyed my picture being taken because of my smile. When I would smile, I'd smile with my mouth closed because I didn't want anybody to see that I had crooked teeth. And ultimately what I realized is I was actually judging myself probably more than anybody else was. But the dentist said in order to give me straight teeth, they would have to pull both of my canines on my left side. They would have to pull, another tooth in the center. But I'm 53 years old. I've had straight teeth, good strong teeth. I, haven't had any dental issues. And I decided that no, I was not willing to go through that pain and agony merely because of an insecurity. Looking back, now I realize that, wow, I was starting to honor myself and starting to love myself instead of trying to live my life by everyone else's perception of how I should be. So now you might ask, now that I'm awake, now that I am honestly trying to be the absolute best human being I possibly can, I've gotten rid of everything. I'm going around the world trying to help the one and give love to the ones who need it most. Why now would I spend money on getting braces? Or why would I care? Because you could say that that is ego, and so on. But as I laid in bed, I thought to myself, if I'm truly trying to give love to other people and help other people try to find their truths from within, because nobody can tell you what your truths are, only between you and your creator, your God, wherever your energy comes from, then it's important that as I speak, they're not obsessing about the negative, because it's not their fault. The brain's always looking at the negative first. I need to be able to speak with people in a way that I can at least off the start get them to listen to me. Instead of thinking, well, if somebody, is one with God, why in the world would they have such crooked teeth? And so on. So I figured, hey, I'm in a country that dental work is inexpensive, very experienced. Why don't I check and see what it would cost to get, I'd seen people walking around with amazing teeth and smile, and I had asked them and they had gotten veneers. So I went into a local dentist, orthodontist, and yesterday, and I wanted to see, what it would take to get some veneers to give me what would be considered a reputable smile. And I did not want to spend a lot of money, because honestly, the money that I have from selling off everything anymore, I don't consider it my money. If you will, I consider it the money for me to do what my life purpose, what my existence and the purpose of that is. So I've been living a minimalist life. I've been very, very frugal with the money I spend. I think my condo that I'm staying in temporarily until about August or September, it's only a couple 100 square feet, because I don't need much. I've given up my comforts. I'm done feeling sorry for myself and so on. So I knew that I didn't want to spend a lot of money, because to me it would feel like my ego's doing it, or I'm trying to be something I'm not. So when I went in and I asked, hey, how much would it cost? And happened to be a dentist that spoke really good English, and her mother actually is from Florida in the U.S., and her father happens to be Thai. And she looked at my teeth and she said that she couldn't do veneers because my teeth were too crooked. Instead, she highly recommended that I get braces, get my teeth straightened, and then in all actuality, once they're straightened, with a little bit of grinding work, she could give me a good smile. And initially I thought, oh boy, I don't want to spend that much. Now in America, it was going to cost me $6,000 to $7,000. And when she quoted out the price, it was about $1,500 for me to get the top line, the Q style, braces that are considered to be the quickest moving, least amount of work, and so on. And she said, but don't worry, you can take time and you can go out and do the research and figure out what you want. And she said, but let me, since I'm in your mouth, why don't you let me go ahead and I'll just polish up your teeth for you so that you feel, better about your smile, and then you can let me know if you decide you want to do it. Very caring, very loving dentist, actually. And so I got up and I was sitting down for them to, get the bill together and the estimate on how much it would cost me. And then they said, actually, it works out that you could get them right now if you're interested, if you would like to do that. So I just stopped and I thought in my heart, is this the right thing to do? Am I being vain? Am I, concerned about my ego? Or if I'm truly trying to help people find their truths within, is it important that at least they can see past my teeth? So I decided to do it, and I didn't even stop and think, wow, this is going to be intense, this is going to be painful, because I've never enjoyed going to a dentist, and even simply getting x-rays at a dentist office is not a pleasurable experience because of the plastic parts they put, the negatives for the x-ray, if you will, that they put in your mouth and have you bite down on. They're very uncomfortable. But here, they actually use a machine where they don't even have to put anything in your mouth. So there was zero pain there. And then they make a mold of your teeth with this kind of bubblegum type compound and have you bite down on it. And I figured, okay, well, I'll have to come back in a couple weeks or so on and so on. And within about 45 minutes of them putting this kind of blanket over my face so that no splatter would get anywhere and so on, they happen to pull away the cloth and they say, okay, you're all done. It was literally painless. I had absolute zero discomfort. I didn't even feel any tension or anything. All I did was I just meditated. I made sure that I didn't keep grabbing the handles, out of anxiety or tension or whatever. I wanted to make sure that I didn't slip back into the illusion. I wanted to stay centered. So I kind of just held my fingers and I meditated, and I just thought, please, if this is meant to be, let it be. And the only thing I could actually see, because of the cloth, the cloth being right around my mouth and covering my face, the only thing I could see is just a bright light coming through. I couldn't really even see what they were doing. And after we got done, and she said, okay, and she explained why on the inside of my upper front teeth, why she put basically a spacer and kind of a stop, was so that when I bite down, I wouldn't bite off the lower, brackets and so on. And I thanked her, very happily paid the really economical price, if you will, and thanked her for how kind she was and how it was actually an amazingly enjoyable experience, considering. But I also noticed that my bite, for when it comes to chewing or whatever, because of fixing my alignment of my upper and lower jaw, if you will, my overbite and my underbite, it would make it very difficult to chew. Well, I happen to be on the 12th day of fasting. Those of you who've been following along, you've heard me talk about my fasting. And I'm planning on fasting as much of December that's left as I can. And the reason why I'm fasting is because I know that one of the absolute best ways to figure out how much control your illusion is over your truths is by taking away something we feel is so incredibly important, like food. You think about it. Buddha fasted for 49 days. Jesus fasted. Islam, if you do something wrong. Judaism. You look at everything. Even when you get into some of the more, what's generally considered extremely negative religions, there is fasting. Now, people see it as sacrifice. But once you wake up, you realize, no, it's actually not sacrifice. That's the negative first speaking. Because if you have ears, let them hear, that only the wise will hear, you realize, no, by you fasting, it's not to make you have to give up. It's not to punish you. It's not to show any sacrifice, because the time for sacrifice is over. What it is to give you an opportunity to realize how much control your illusion, the physical part of your brain, is over your existence. This is why I am fasting. And this is why each day I feel a little bit more and more different. It's not because I'm becoming malnutrition. It's not because I'm experiencing any mental health issues. Well, that could be debated. A psychologist base everything off of statistics. I mean, after all, you look at the most, if you will, worshipped people in the world. Yeshua, you look at Jesus, you look at Esau, you look at Buddha, you look at all of these. A psychologist would say that they had mental illnesses, because psychology is based off statistics. Well, society is always looking at everything from the negative first to protect us. It's not our fault. It goes clear back to the beginning of time when you were born. It used to be you spank your bottom. First time your mother stopped feeding you, you cried. First time she walked out of the room, you cried. All of these things teach you how to stay alive until you wake up enough to be one with your God, your creator, your universe, whatever you choose to believe it is. Because nobody can tell you your truths. You have to decide them yourself. And everything tells you that none of us have the right to judge. How can we possibly judge one another when we have never lived the same illusion that anybody else has lived? Nothing in our existence has the exact same perception as somebody else. You look back in my videos, I have you look at the video that I'm holding up a picture of the cross, and I have you close your eyes, and I tell you what you're going to see once your eyes are closed. And you might think it's impossible. I mean, really, how could I possibly know what you're going to see once your eyes are closed? But then you have to ask yourself, how can you still see things when your eyes are closed? It's because there's a delay to your perception. And none of us have the exact same delay to our perception because our illusion is all programmed differently. Makes sense, right? And I have absolutely zero negative intentions. I have absolutely zero desire other than to help every single person in the world try to find your truths. Because I do not say one religion over the other is right. I believe in the good in every single person on earth. Now notice, I said the good within. I do recognize that there are a lot of us that are so out of touch of our truths that the good is incredibly hard to recognize anymore. It saddens me. But I do recognize that we all have a choice. Every single one of us have a choice. Do we obsess about the negative, or do we finally love ourselves enough to find our truths and find the positive within our negative? If we are not given a choice, then that is referred to as a dictator. That is not love. That is dictation. I had a lot more that I wanted to, go over, but I just talk from my heart. I have no script, and if you've seen me this time as I'm talking, maybe a little bit of spit or something flew out of my mouth. Please look past that and realize this is the first day of me having braces on, and honestly, the reason why I got braces was so that anybody I'm talking to, the defense mechanism in their illusion, looking at the negative first, I wanted to try to take that away, to give you the ability to try to hear the words I'm saying instead of looking at the negative. Because one thing I know, that if you change one single word that someone says, you create a lie. Now ask yourself, how many different versions of each Bible are there? How many different versions of truth have you heard? You might, within the illusion, find your truths from the people who are closest to you, your family, your friends, your loved ones. But I ask you to please stop and recognize how much negativity is programmed into your brain from those who are closest to you. If you allow yourself to take this day or the next day and just watch and see how many times someone close to you says or does something negative out of their own insecurities, out of their own selfishness, out of their own ego, out of their own judgment of other people. And then you will start seeing the pattern of why your brain naturally looks at the negative first. I love all of you, and thank you for listening. Have a good day.